Good. T.I.M.E Stories the Marcy case, cast preferably for aged...
Hold on a minute.
Before we start, I'm just going to say there are going to be no story spoilers within this review of the Marcy case, and that comes down to even the game's theme. It's something I find a little bit odd, because other reviewers have been perfectly candid about it, and that's fine. The first page of Board Game Geek pretty much gives it away from the off, and there's no major build-up within this deck of cards towards it, but the blurb of that box acts like it's some sort of huge mystery you need to uncover, so I'm going to keep stum on it, partly because I'm nice like that, partly because I don't want you coming at me with pitchforks, because I know some of you will. All that you'll see in this review are the front of cards related to one location, which I feel doesn't give the theme away. You might catch a glimpse of the map up here. Again, doesn't give anything away. Any mechanics added to the codex up here, I will be playing face down. You will not see exactly what those entail, but I will be talking about them a little bit for obvious reasons. It's a review, and I'm likely going to throw in a shot of all the characters you're going to be playing as, because I'm pretty sure I'm breaching some sort of civil guidelines if I'm forcing you to look at my face non-stop for 5 minutes. That's it. Back to you. Where'd you go?
T.I.M.E Stories the Marcy case, cast preferably for agents as receptacles caught in a whirlwind of madness and panic as the disease spreads through the American town of Rhineland. Somewhere in the civil unrest is a young girl called Marcy. If the agents can find a way of extracting her, then maybe there could be some hope for the people in the small town in Wisconsin. And, you know, the future of humanity in general, no pressure. In the Marcy case, you'll be moving around, rolling dice, and potentially wasting time in a good way. I'm not going to go too in-depth over here. I already did that in my T.I.M.E Stories review. If you want a rules explanation, you should head over to that subtle hint wink to camera. All the while, a thick dose of deja vu steam will be vented into your time pod. At least that thematically works with the game. And I'm not entirely sure how the technology in this game works. It feels like Bob's always a little bit sketchy with the details on that matter. What secrets are you hiding, Bobbo? Nothing, just be a good agent and do what you're told. That didn't really work. It wasn't the voice, I just need a Bob puppet. Anyway, whilst flashes of your time in 1920s France may come to you throughout, there are elements that do move away from the Asylum. The most obvious of these is the art style. Striking as ever, the Marcy case hits the same depraved tones as his older sibling, albeit with a comic book theme. And whilst it didn't quite entice our own eyes that much, what does our opinion matter? We're not experts in anything pencilly. I can say that all the shields we came across weren't all that appealing though. We're more rusty dagger people. Shields, shields, shields. Around every corner there's more shields than a Roman tortoise blocking a blacksmith. And these should really bother my bros. I made it very clear in our last mission that I wasn't a fan of dice rolling in this game, and this period enforces new opportunities for conflict. However, it doesn't grate any more than it did in the Asylum, thanks to the bevy of items that you get to even the odds. Get flipping everywhere. This time, your inventory can consist of a wonderful batch of dice-altering equipment that tip the odds in your favour. You'll find your choices extending into your own hand, choosing what to use and when. It's nice that as the shield shenanigans have increased, so have your possibilities in dealing with them. It just means that a pretty okay mechanic is now consistently meh-worthy. As dice take on more weight, puzzles lose a fair amount. They're there, but we didn't find them quite as gratifying as before. But hey, at least they're mixing things up here. Here, a lot of the puzzles rely a lot more on memory. Sorry, what a time for that to happen. I need that flip. The Marcy case plays around with the idea of miscommunication through its puzzles, and that's a really nice touch. Every issue of the brain feels like it would fit right in a case of Witness, where it's set in the middle of a spoiler infestation. But once our group becomes embroiled in T.I.M.E Stories because of the way it stretches our noggin, that might not appeal to you, and that's absolutely fine. But when I started writing up my thoughts on the Marcy case, a sudden realisation came over me that T.I.M E Stories is the board game equivalent of Lost. Bear with me on this one. It's so easy to be taken under the spell that T.I.M E Stories cast whilst you're playing it, but when you walk away and sleep off its effects, you soon realise that one-on-one don't quite make two in some instances. You start to see the foibles that each case comes with. Nevertheless, Marcy case has its cons, but it doesn't ruin the entire experience for you. I guess if Asylum was my John Locke, then this would be my Ana Lucia. It's decent enough, I guess, but it comes to a rather abrupt end, which is a bit disappointing. And whilst I really wanted it to be my Desmond, at least it's not a Kate. Where am I going with this? What I'm trying to say is, whilst these cases come with their flaws, I'd rather they came slightly tarnished whilst trying something new with this system than giving us a hefty dose of deja vu. I'm not entirely sure the perfect case is out there for me, but at the same time, I don't think I should be looking for it. I guess next time I review one of these, I should be a little less selfish and a lot more sincere. Whilst we might have found the Marcy case a tad underwhelming as a Time Stories campaign from what we know of them so far, it's alright, it does the job, it's more of the same if you like that kind of thing, a little bit less puzzle but some nice tweaks on dice rolling, so I wouldn't put 20 quid into it, but I'd certainly chuck a fiver at it. Still, I'm just waiting for that one case to come along and... Yep. Wrong day again? Yep. Well, okay, don't take that tone with me. You made this mistake yourself. Alright, sorry. Yeah, alright. Anyway, when do I have to review A Prophecy of Dragons? Pretty much any Monday in March. Alright. And do I have to warn any future Bens that they have to commit to this bit as well? No, don't worry about it. I'm not entirely sure the joke landed last time, so I don't think it'll bode very well for me in the future. Yeah, good choice, trust me, it won't. Anyway, hope I never see you again. Next month, we'll be looking at A Prophecy of Dragons. Will it be kind of magic? I'm not bursting into song here, please go.